Fun Ideas Productions presents the Fun Ideas Podcast.
This is the Slow Poisoner. I come to you from the future with these words of warning.
It's a hot horror planet. 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 Living in science fiction. Past the point of no returning. We got high on gasoline. And we blew the scene.
Hi, this is Mark Arnold, and welcome to Fun Ideas Podcast number 93. This episode is sponsored by the fine folks at Lee's Comics. Attention comic book fans, Lee's Comics of Mountain View, California has closed. But here's the good news. Lee's Comics eBay store is still going strong with over 10,000 vintage comics, the majority of which are now on sale, for half off. Choose from Lee's huge stock of golden, silver, bronze, and modern age comics, and specializing in Silver Age Marvel titles. You can count on friendly service, accurate grading, and quick, secure shipping backed by a money-back guarantee. To check out Lee's eBay store, go to eBay. Click Advanced Search to the left of the search bar, scroll down to Sellers, and enter Lee's Comics Inc., period. That's LEESCOMICS INC, period. Don't forget the period. Lee's Comics is shipping daily with no delays. New items daily. Mention the Fun Ideas Podcast and get a free bonus gift.
Long title, Looking for the Good Times, Examining the Monkees song one by one, by Michael A. Ventrella and Mark Arnold. A book that examines each song, gives lots of details about each song, and our own personal opinions. You can find this book on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and anywhere where good books are being sold. Our webpage is wordpress.monkees.com, where you can see many of the songs and give your own opinions of them. And we will be discussing this more on Zilch.
Hey Michael, it says here we've written another book about the Monkees. Wasn't the first one enough?
Not at all, Mark. Our original book, Looking for the Good Times, Examining the Monkees songs one by one, was very successful, but only covered half the story.
Which half?
The group half. Our new book, Headquartered, A Timeline of the Monkees' Solo Years, covers the solo half.
Who knew the Monkees record so many solo albums?
Not only that, but this book covers all of their solo projects, including stage shows, horse racing, running record labels, directing and starring in TV shows and movies, voice acting, and jail.
Jail? Did the Monkees go to jail?
You have to read the book to find out.
You've sold me. Have you sold them?
Who's them?
Those people out there listening to this.
Well, listen to this. This book has discographies, photos, and other information about the Prefab Four, Mickey, Davey, Peter, and Mike, the Solo Monkees, plus another nifty cover by Scott Schaub.
Wow, he did our last cover. And this one's equally good. Where can you get this masterpiece?
Announcer.
Announcer? That's me. Get Headquartered, a timeline of the Monkees' solo years, written by Michael A. Ventrella and Mark Arnold. Those two guys. It's available in hardback, paperback, or ebook from BearManorMedia.com or from Amazon. Get your copies today.
Cool. I'm going to get one today. I'm still plugging away on my Mad and Disney books, and there's no real news about my Warren Kremer book or my TTV scrapbook, but the holidays are coming up, so you can order my other books as gifts. There's books about Harvey Comics, Archie Comics, The Beatles, Dennis the Menace, Cracked, Disney, Patty Freeling, Total Television, Jack Davis, John Severin, and the Monkees. You can order my books on Amazon or through the Bear Manor Media website. Thank you very much. Today we feature a major fan of the Monkees who has been a fan since their start in 1966. He has now written his second book on the group. Here he is, Fred Velez. Okay, on the phone today we have Fred Velez. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. How's everybody out there?
I'm doing great here in Oregon, and just wanted to talk to you today, find a little bit about yourself. I mean, I've heard you on Zilch, and I have your first book, and we'll talk about all that. But tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got interested in the Monkees and any other things that you do.
Well, I'm an original fan from back in the 60s. I started watching the show and listening to the music way back when. I actually won my first Monkee album. I actually won in a contest at a street fair. It was I have the story in my first book, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, the Monkees from a fan's perspective. And there was a street fair where they had a little mouse race, where you put your quarter down, and if your mouse won the race, you won whatever prize they had. And the prize I had my eye on was the More of the Monkees album. So my mouse won. I won the album. And when I first heard the album, I thought it was great. And I actually heard the Monkees on the radio prior to even knowing there was a TV show. So I actually fell in love with the music first. And then I discovered the TV show. And I've been a fan ever since. And I've been following them even after the show went off the air. I kept following them through the music. I bought the albums that came out after 1968 and just kept following their careers as solo artists. Michael Nesmith, of course, was the most prominent of the four of them, and Davey next to him. And over the years, I was able to scrounge together some of Mickey's solo singles. And I finally got to see two of the Monkees in concert with Bones Jones, Boyce and Hart in 1976, and I finally got to see Peter Tork in concert around the late 70s, early 1980, and he was actually the first Monkee I got to know on a fairly personal basis, because he was reemerging into the entertainment field in concerts and TV appearances, in particular the Uncle Floyd Show, which was a fun show that was sort of a parody of the old kiddie shows back in the day. And Peter made several appearances on that show, and he had a great time. And I actually got, because I knew guys on the show, I was able to attend his second appearance on the Uncle Floyd Show, and I got on camera with Peter. And over the years, whenever we saw each other, he always said hello. He was very friendly. I think he appreciated the people the fans that attended his early shows, because he knew those were the true fans that would come and see him, even during a period where it wasn't Monkees, it was just him. And I think that endeared him to the fans from that period on. Mm-hmm. And then I got involved with the Monkee conventions, the early Monkee conventions, with Maggie McManus and later Ed Riley and Charles F. Rosenay. Mm-hmm. And I was the original MC for those early conventions. And it culminated in 82, we did the convention in Connecticut, and that was the first convention that we had a Monkee, and it was Peter. Mm-hmm. And he was absolutely wonderful. Everybody loved him. And he performed a short set with Charles and his band Monkey Mania. And then Peter did a Q&A in which he expressed when he was asked the question, where was he when he heard that John Lennon had been killed, he let down his mask. And he was very honest about his feelings about John Lennon, how much John Lennon meant to him, and there was not a dry eye in the house. You could have heard a pin in that hall. It was that quiet as Peter was talking. So, I think that helped to cement the bond between Peter and fans. And then later on, I was the MC for the 1986 Philadelphia Monkee Convention, where we had Mickey, Davey, and Peter, and that was incredible. It was one of the best times I ever had doing, and just off and on, being involved with conventions, being involved with Monkee events. I actually helped out with one of Davy's book signings, helping to keep the crowd contained and everything. I worked with Davy on one of his books. I worked on his Mutant Monkees book, and I did some light research in which I actually went to his house, and he pulled out this big trunk and told me, "Fred, now look in this trunk and see if there's anything in there you think we can use for the book." He opens up the trunk, and I thought I died and went to monkey heaven. It was full of his personal memorabilia, photos, scrapbooks, you name it. It was in there. And I started pulling out the scrapbooks and looking at pictures, like original wardrobe tests for the movie Head, photos from their 60s concerts. And I was telling Davey and his partner, Alan Green, which pictures they should definitely use. There's a picture of Davey with Pete Townsend. They said, "Oh, yes, definitely this one." And it was just a wonderful experience being involved in the monkey fandom, and that would probably lead to my first book, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, The Monkees from a Fan's Perspective, which I wrote, sadly, after Davey had passed away, in which I recounted all my experiences as a Monkees fan, being involved with them, and I incorporated stories from other fans too, so it wasn't all my stories, it was other stories too, to help give everybody an idea about monkey fandom over the years. And I was very pleased that the book was very successful, and I'm grateful for everybody who bought it and really liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. I got it too when I was writing my books with Michael Ventrella. You know, I made sure to get all the notable Monkees books, and yours was one of them. So.
Oh, good. Thank you. I love your books, by the way.
Well, thank you.
I just got headquartered recently, and I love the first book, the long title book, especially the cover, which references it's a mad, 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 mad world.
Right. That was Scott Shaw's idea. You know, it's like he says, "I got a great idea for the cover," and I go, "Well, okay. What do you want?" And he goes, "How about everybody on the show who was ever on the TV series chasing the Monkees a la Mad, 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 Mad World?" And I said, "Sure." You know? And to be honest, a little bit later, he kind of regretted that. He goes, "This is a tough drawing," and I go, "Well, I didn't tell you." So,
well, I love it. It was very clever.
So when we got to the headquartered book, I said, "All right, this is what," I kind of directed him. I said, "I want 4 different boxes, each one containing like memorabilia or something referring to each individual monkey, and you don't have to go overboard. Keep it simple." He still went above and beyond the Call of Duty. I love Scott. So.
Well, I love the cover of the first book too. I like the fact that in the corner with Peter, you got Uncle Floyd in there.
Yeah.
And he was very appreciative of being on the cover of this book.
Oh, wow. He saw our book? Wow.
Yeah, I told him about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hopefully he got it or someone got it for him. I hope so anyway.
Because I made sure to get him on there. I mean, it's kind of funny. Here I'm a Californian. I live in Oregon now. And the only reason I know about Uncle Floyd is because in that same year that Peter was appearing, that was when Uncle Floyd went into national syndication for a brief period of time. And there was a station in Sacramento, California, which was a long way away, but if you turned the antenna the right way, you could get it, especially at night. And they showed Uncle Floyd during the summer of '82, and I think into the fall a little bit, and then that was it. And
Peter made a couple appearances on the syndicated show.
Yeah, and I saw a couple Peter appearances. I don't know if I saw Davy's appearance. I don't remember it. I think I would have remembered it.
Well, Davy was not on the syndicated show. He was on a later show that was on WNGN here in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Okay, so at that point, I wasn't seeing the show anymore, and I was kind of going... But I've always kind of followed Uncle Floyd kind of from a distance, because I know he performs all over the East back there in New Jersey and New York and stuff like that, in different events and stuff, and I've seen him over the years that way, but, and I'm Facebook friends with a couple of the people like Scott Gordon and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So... but I've always had an appreciation for it, and I was probably the only person on the West Coast that got the Uncle Floyd Show record album that came out.
Oh, wow, you got a rarity there.
Yeah. And what's another thing that... Oh, and I had the DVD that came out a few years ago. But unfortunately, no Peter Tork on that, or Davy Jones, but...
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, Uncle Floyd owns the rights to the show, and if you go on his... he does show the clips from the show. I think sometimes they show them on Facebook, but you have to pay in order to see them, because he owns the rights to the show. So you have to go like on Uncle Floyd Radio or UncleFloyd.net to find out the schedule when those shows are going to be on.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's the reason why Uncle Floyd's on the cover, and also, I hate to say, Peter kind of became, active, I guess, more belatedly than the other Monkees. I don't know if that was by choice or by design. If it was like the 70s were like a really lost decade, even more so than for Mickey. It's like, so it seemed like that was like, his major reappearance, even though he did play with Dolan Jones' Boyce and Hart once, but I was kind of young for that. So.
Yeah, Dolan Jones' Boyce and Hart and Disney World, I think Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland. Yeah.
And then a year later, he was at Starwood with Mickey, Davy, and Coco and the Laughing Dogs. Mm-hmm.
Now, did you see any of those shows, or did you not make it out to the
Not
list?
the one with Peter. I saw 2 Dolan Jones' Boyce and Hart shows in 1976, and then a year later I saw 2 of the Davy, Mickey, and Coco shows. Mm-hmm. So I got to see 2 years in a row in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Then Peter later in the late 70s, early 80s, and always tried to catch him whenever he was playing. He usually played Greenwich Village, was where he got his start in show business. And it was actually very interesting, a lot of fun to see Peter during that period, because you got to see him in his element, and playing in Greenwich Village. That's where he learned his craft, and that was really amazing.
Mm-hmm. What were the concerts like back then? I mean, I know there is a official recording of Dolan Jones' Boyce and Hart, and a couple other 70s things that I've heard bootleg of, but other than the recent ones from 7A Records that show like Mickey on stage in Japan and Davy in Japan and stuff like that, were they well-structured shows like the later Monkees shows? Are they kind of loosey-goosey, or how were they?
They were very good. They were well rehearsed. Mm-hmm. They had a great band. They had Keith Allison in the Dolan Jones, Boyce and Hart show as the musical director. Mm-hmm. Keith Allison from the Raiders. So they had good guys on those shows, and they had a pretty well-structured show in which they showcased both the Monkees songs that Boyce and Hart wrote, plus the Boyce and Hart's own solo stuff, and then Boyce and Hart songs that they wrote for other people. And of course, they incorporated other songs that were written for the Monkees by others like Neil Diamond and Jon Stewart and Harry Nilsson. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun. I saw Dolan Jones, Boyce and Hart first at the Riverboat in New York, which was a club, a nightclub that was at the foot of the Empire State Building, and that was a lot of fun. And I got to see Mickey and Davy and Coco a year later at the same venue, and then I saw Dolan Jones, Boyce and Hart again that same summer of '76 at the Calderon Concert Hall in Long Island, and that was a fun show too because you had a bigger venue. And it's interesting because the Calderon Concert Hall, they had a lot of big acts that played there, like Peter Frampton and Kiss and Todd Rundgren and people like that played that same venue also. So it was pretty historic. It was a pretty historic place. Mm-hmm. So it was, but it was as heck as anything to get down there because it was all the way in Long Island, right. And I lived in New York City.
Oh, okay.
So, so I had to figure out how to get down there.
How were the audiences back then? I mean, I know from '86 forward, pretty much Monkees guarantees a crowd, but I don't know about '70s and '80s concerts.
It was pretty good. It was about at least 80% girls.
Okay.
more than 80% girls, teenage girls, and oh boy, did they scream!
Oh.
Yeah, and remember I was seeing them 10 years after they first started. You know, 66 they started, and 76 is when they were back with DJ B&H. Mm-hmm. And those shows were great. The fans enjoyed every moment of it, and you could tell from the expressions of on their faces, the guys enjoyed the shows too. Mm-hmm. There is a video that I put up on YouTube that I took of a couple of the shows.
Oh, okay.
If you look it up, Monkees concert films from '76, or look up my name, or look up FREV for me on YouTube, and you should be able to find that footage. I also included a 1980 Peter Tork appearance from the Rock Ages convention when he played there, when he played with his band. I think it was either Cottonmouth or the Peter Tork band.
Yeah, did you shoot those on video or on film or what?
On film.
Oh, wow.
It's a great film.
With audio too?
The Peter Tork one was film, audio, sound on film. Okay. The Dolenz Jones voice and Davey and Mickey ones, I dubbed the music in.
Oh, cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah, I can send you the link later.
Okay, sounds good. Another thing I was curious about, so if you're an original fan, you kept buying the albums. The thing I'm always curious about is in the late 60s and into the 70s, mainly from the standpoint, was it hard to find the albums in stores, and including the solo albums, and was it hard to find out any information about the boys, at least up until the mid-70s?
It was actually not that hard to find the albums at that time, by the late 70s, because remember, the first 5 albums sold in the millions. Mm-hmm. So those were fairly easy to get. Remember, I won the second album in the contest. Right. And I was able to pick up the other later albums at different record stores. Mm-hmm. So, and the later albums, I actually bought when they were pretty much new.
Yeah.
So I got Head, Instant Replay, Present, and Changes when they were all brand new albums. Mm-hmm. And the singles I was able to get, they were, the later singles I was able to get when they were new, and I was able to pick up the older singles also. Now, Michael Nesmith was the only Monkee to have been putting out new records after the whole Monkee thing finished. So I was able to get his albums as they came out. Mm-hmm. Mickey and, Davey was the next one I was able to get because this was fairly easy. His album on Bell Records and a couple of the singles, even though I didn't get all the singles at the time. Mm-hmm. I had to get them eventually over the years. Mickey was much harder to get because you really had to dig at the records. I went to a lot of the record stores in Greenwich Village, just searching for anything I could find, and I eventually was able to find some of the recordings I was looking for. Peter didn't have anything out,
right?
So,
but on Mickey's and Davies stuff, was that hard to find because you didn't know about it, or you knew about it but stores just didn't carry it?
Because believe me, magazines like Target Beat and 16 were valuable at that time. Because they gave you like the latest news on some of the pop idols, even the ones that weren't showing up on the covers anymore, like the Monkees.
Right.
But they still knew that there were still fans that liked them. So they whatever little tidbits came up, they said, well, Mickey has a new single out, or Davey has a new record out, or Davey's going to be on this show or that show. So that's how I was able to stay in touch for what they were doing. So when I found out there was a Mickey Dolenz single out there, I scoured the record stores to see if I could find it, and eventually I was able to dig some up.
Okay. Because I wasn't buying records. I'm probably a decade younger than you. So my first exposure to the Monkees was on the Saturday morning TV show. And
Right.
I said this on the Charles Rosenet episode, but I'll say it again. I didn't care for the TV show when I first saw it. I liked the music though, but I was a little kid. I was really small, and I'm talking about seeing the reruns from 70 to 73. And then, I didn't think much more about it. I do remember that Mickey Dolenz commercial where he's advertising like the pop hits of the 60s or something like that. Because they used to play that a lot. And so I go, hey, it's that Monkey guy, And then I think Dolenz, Jones, Boyce, and Hart was the next time I heard anything. For some reason, for me, I never thought about Nesmith or, and maybe they put him in the country section. I wasn't buying records much then. So the first Nesmith album I saw brand new was his 79 album, I always forget the title. The one with...
Infinite Rider on the Dogmas.
Yeah. The one with magic on it. And
yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
That was the one that was pretty much the template for Elephant Parts.
Yeah,
All the songs that were most of the songs that are on Elephant Parts came from that album.
Yeah. And Elephant Parts is what made me a fan, is what I was telling Charles. Because before that, I just said, oh, that's just that stupid TV show. And some of the songs are good, but I just really didn't pay attention to it until Elephant Parts. And I fell in love with that. And so at that point, I was starting to maybe I thought about these guys wrong. And, I mentioned is my first album was the same one that was the one you got for free, but I paid $0.25 for it in 1980. I paid $0.25 for more of the Monkees in 1981. And my thought was, if this really stinks, I'll throw it back in the thrift shop. But if it's good, and I listened to it, and it's like, oh, I know this song. I don't know this one is pretty good, So I knew, I'm a Believer. I knew Stepping Stone, just because I've heard them on the radio or saw them on the TV show or something. But that's when I got started. So by the time they rolled around and reunited in '86, I was ready. So, But anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. That's the thing I think that kept me going after the TV show was done, was the records, because the songs were still good.
Mm-hmm.
That even if the TV show wasn't on the air anymore, I could still listen to the music.
Yeah.
And I think I grew a deeper appreciation for the music because the show wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And then when the show came back, I was thrilled, of course. But the songs stayed with me much longer, and I think that's the thing. A lot of people that fault the Monkees, oh, they didn't play their own music, which is all nonsense, of course.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I like to point out this. Well, look, the TV show only lasted 2 seasons. The Monkees as a musical act have lasted almost over 50 years.
Right.
So you do the math.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, people still say that. I mean, I do it in jest sometimes. It's like, did they really play their instruments on the Christmas album finally? Just as a joke. But, it's like, I think everybody should know by now they have played their instruments. They've toured more in reunion concerts than they were together originally.
Right, as Davey would have said, at one point, the Monkees don't play their own instruments. I don't play my own instrument. This one's rented.
Of course, I don't know how much playing 8 maracas is, but hey, no.
Right. There you go.
Anyway. Let's see. What else can I ask about the Monkees? You're the guy that was there. So, Have you noticed, I mean, apart from age, any change in any of the Monkees over the years, or have they always been, the same guys all along?
They've all matured over the years, obviously. They were not those young kids anymore, but they grew older, somewhat wiser over the years. Nesmith, who I think for a while gave off an image of being sort of aloof, that he was not really interested or involved. He, to me, seems to have embraced the Monkees more over the years.
Yeah.
He's become much more appreciative of the fans. He realized that the Monkees meant something to the fans, and I think that touched them. And I think when he had his health problems a couple of years ago with the double, was it triple bypass, I think it was?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I think the fact that everyone was like praying for him and keeping him in their thoughts and prayers and everything and all that, and wishing him good health and everything, that he sort of saw that these people did care about him,
yeah,
and did love him, and I think that touched him a lot, and that he's sort of like broken down more to embrace the fans more than he may have seemed to have been previously.
Yeah.
So I think of all of them, he's learned to really consider and appreciate the fans for the love that they've always had for the Monkees, and the love they've shown to him as well.
Pretty cool. Excuse me. Did you see Michael back in the day with First National Band or anything like that, or no?
Sadly, no.
Okay.
I didn't get to see him in person till the 80s.
Okay.
And the first time I saw him was when he was about to launch Elephant Parts in the Tavern on the Green in New York City, located in Central Park. My friend Jerry Beck, I'm sure you know who he is.
Yeah, he was just on the podcast, and I was going to ask you about him, but go ahead.
It was Jerry that I met when we both went to the same screening of the movie Head in New York City at this little movie theater called the Elgin Cinema, and we met for the first time, and we saw that we had interests in the same things with the Monkees, and we became good friends from that point on. And I'm very proud of Jerry that he's become this major animation expert. When from our little group, he's like the first guy to make it. I was so proud of him.
Now you're talking on a reissue of Head or the original time?
The original.
Oh, okay.
I saw Head for the first time in, it was 1974, 75, I'm trying to remember. But it was about that time that it was on TV first. It was on CBS TV in the late night, and I got to stay up, to see it. And then eventually it was showing at the Elgin Cinema again, and because it played there previously, but it was a midnight showing. I wasn't going to go to New York City in the middle of the night to see a movie, especially in a strange theater. This I think was prior to Rocky Horror or something like that. Or maybe when Rocky Horror came out, they tried to do these the midnight movies, and Head was one of them.
Right.
So, but I wasn't going to do a midnight movie. So, but when it came to TV, I saw it. And then when it played at a regular time, at a decent time, that's when I went to see it at the Elgin. That's when I met Jerry Beck.
Okay. Because I think, when I've talked to Jerry about it, he mentioned that how you guys met on the other episode. So you got a mention. That's one reason I called you anyway. So he said, "Yeah, I should talk to Fred too." And he said the same thing. You guys are good friends. He said he was staring at the Head poster, and you came walking up behind him or something to that effect. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We both commented on it, and we realized we hit it off. Yeah. We saw how much we're both big Monkee fans, everything. Jerry says, I have episodes of the Monkees. I said, really? And then we arranged for me to go down there because he was living in Queens at the time.
Yeah.
Because he says, I usually do like little film festivals in my house.
Oh, wow.
And I show them. So I went there and it was great. I had a fantastic time. And it was with Jerry that we did like the early Monkey conventions in which I was the MC and Jerry would project the episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, Jerry was talking about that. He was talking about, he's been to all the early conventions, comic book related and everything else. And it's like, jealous. Anyway. I mean, my first exposure to Jerry, not in person, but was his Of Mice and Magic book, the animation book with Malton, or I should say by Malton. It's not really by Jerry, but he has a prominent credit. So, but I didn't meet Jerry till like early '90s, I think, in San Diego at the comic convention. So and then we hit it off because we like animation. I had no clue he was a Monkees fan. I mean, I was a Monkees fan too, but I didn't talk about it with him. We did on the show recently, but, we were both down in L.A. when they did the 50th anniversary show that Mickey and Mike both showed up to with Andrew Sandoval. So,
right.
I don't know if you had the chance to attend that or not. I don't think...
No, sadly that was in California, so I couldn't go.
Okay. Or if you attended the one 10 years earlier that had Davy and Peter, I didn't attend that one.
I couldn't make that one either.
Yeah. Which I didn't know about that one until after the fact. And I go, I should have seen it. But fortunately...
Fortunately, some of it is on YouTube.
Yeah. And fortunately, I have met all four of them separately and not at the same time together. I mean, that's one thing I'm jealous of you. You're like in mini shots with like all four of them, just like, here I am. I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah. Like on the cover of my first book.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, geez. But, at least I got to meet all of them face to face at solo concerts and stuff like that over the years, and
right. Well, Jerry wrote the introduction to my book, my first book,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your book. So on the first one, because I know you have a new one, which is called A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You 2, which is how Davey sometimes sang it in concert. I don't know if you did that intentionally, but let's stick with the first one for a second here. How did you, obviously you have personal stories that you put in the book and stuff like that, but how did you get the word out to get people to write to you and give you their stories and things like that?
Well, I came up with the idea of for one thing, a lot of people in the Monkey fandom knew that I was deeply involved in that. I have my Monkey stories, and they said, Fred, you should write a book one day about the Monkees. I said, well, maybe one day I will. And then I just put it on the back burner, the back of my head, back burner for a long time. And the thing is that other books had come out, like Eric Lefkowitz's Monkey books, which pretty much covered the story, and then Andrew Sandoval wrote one. Well, I don't know if I can compete with these guys, because they pretty much wrote the history already. Well, I don't know what angle I could put on it. And then after Davy passed away, they had the Davy Jones Memorial at B.B. King's in New York City, which I attended, in which Davy's daughters were there, and the members of Davy's band performed for the last time, and Mickey and Peter were there.
Right.
And I met Annabelle Jones, Davy's youngest daughter, there. Mm-hmm. And she's just the sweetest young lady you could think of. It looks just like Davy at that age. It was amazing. So afterwards, and here's the thing. After the show, after the memorial was finished, I saw Annabelle, and she was collecting money for the charity for Davy's horses. Because he had a ranch where he kept rescue horses, and the money being raised was to help to keep providing for the horses. So I donated some money, and I talked to Annabelle, and I said that I been a great admirer of her dad, and that I had worked with him on one of his books and other things. And then I just got emotional. I just started breaking down, and I started to cry. And Annabelle reached over and started hugging me.
Oh.
And here's this young lady who had just lost her father, and she's comforting me over his loss.
Right.
You know, it was like it was a very surreal moment, because I had, if you read my first book, I recount a dream I had where I had just, me and my future wife Linda had attended a concert with the Monkees, and we managed to get backstage and saw Davy and Peter, because they were the two Monkees I knew the most. Mm-hmm. And we were talking, and then all of a sudden I look at Davy, and I started getting emotional, and I just reached out and started to hug him. And and then I woke up and I realized it was a dream, and then I realized, oh, Davy had died, you know, and that's what it was. So when I met Annabelle and that happened, it's like the dream is coming to life, you know.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, after we left the memorial, it was then that the idea for the book came to me, especially when we were passing the Empire State Building and where the riverboat used to be. That's where I saw him for the first time.
Right.
So that cemented the idea of doing the book. And I said, well, I don't know if I have enough stories of my own to make a full book. So that's Linda said, well, why don't you ask other fans to contribute? I said, that's a great idea. So I put out a feeler on places like Facebook and Twitter. You know, if anybody has any stories they would like to share, I would like to put them in the book. If you have photos and things, I could have permission to use. And I got a lot of contributions, and I was able to put the book together that way. And the book premiered at the 2014 Monkees convention, the first one that Michael Nesmith was fully involved in. You know, and I had the pleasure of giving each of the surviving Monkees a copy of the book, signed to them. You know, when I saw Peter, it was, you know, for years I've been getting your autograph. This is the first time you're getting mine.
That's very cool.
And what was nice, when I gave it to Mickey, he placed it on the table where his family was sitting, his daughters and everything. They were looking at the book and they saying, wow, this is pretty good. You know? So I was very pleased with that. And when I went to Nesmith to give him my books, I said, look, I've been a fan of yours for years. I would like to give you this as a gift. I'd like to sign it to you. And he was like, well, that's very nice of you. And I said, how would you like me to send to Michael, to Nesmith, or to Nez? I said, make it to Nez. And I did.
Cool. Yeah.
So, and I also gave individual copies to Davy's daughters, who are the sweetest young ladies, the sweetest ladies you could possibly meet. They're all angels as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I've heard them on the Zilch show. I've never met any of them, but yeah.
Well, I've had the pleasure, and they're all wonderful. Hello, girls. I hope you're hearing this.
Yes, he had four daughters, all girls. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. All little girlies.
But I am a subscriber to their Jones Tea newsletter, and you know I have yet to try it. But hey, I'll give you a quick plug here anyway. So, have you tried their tea?
Not yet. I plan to.
Okay. Yeah, I you know, it's just like one more thing on my list, and it's like I gotta do that, you know. But
one more on the bucket list. There you go.
What else was I going to ask you about? So, obviously, the book was a success, and you know what I like about it. I'll say a few praises before we go on to the other book. Is everybody in Monkee fandom kind of tries to do their own type of book, which is very good. You know, I mean, yes, there's been other people that have done like the book Michael and I did, you know, that have done, you know, their opinions of what the songs were like. But, I mean, that's precisely because, anybody's opinion can be totally different, so that's okay. I was a little bit hesitant for that reason, but to do our books, but that's when Michael explained to me, but it's our perspective, and we'll get other people like Peter Noon and Howard Kalin and stuff like that to write little bits too, and so that's why we tried to make it a little bit different. We didn't want to be like Sandoval's book. Your book is like completely different because it's from a fan's point of view. It's not about the TV shows like one book, Monkey Magic. It's not about the British perspective like that Head book. I can't think of the title, but
I know the one.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's all these different perspectives. So you give like the American fan perspective, which is really cool. Now, the new book, from what I understand, is the British perspective or worldwide perspective. Is that am I correct in that?
Pretty much a worldwide perspective, right?
Okay.
The new book, a little bit me, a little bit you, too.
Yes.
The Monkees from international fan perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And it not only is our new stories from myself since 1914. No, I'm really making myself old here. We have to really rock and roll there.
They're playing in World War I. The Great War.
So we were really hit then. But anyway, since 2014,
yes.
since I wrote the book, I've had some more Monkees encounters and situations. And actually, the idea for the second book actually came out of my experiences at the 2014 convention, because I had so many fans come up to my table asking me for buying the book and having me sign it, which was a new experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually I'm the one looking for autographs, and here are people asking for my autograph, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
A nice little change up. So, and some of them were really dear friends, and one of them, Roshina Yagas, let me see if I got her name right.
Mm-hmm.
Rosa de Fatima Villagas. I hope I said it right. Forgive me, Rosa, if I said it wrong. And she said, Fred, I love, I think she read a little bit of the book, and she said, I love the book. I like the idea of the book, but why didn't you ask for more people from around the world? There are fan stories, there are people like me from Brazil and from South America and from every place else that have their stories too. We would have loved to have been in your book. So, you're right. I could have put in more of a feel. Of course, the book would have been like 600 pages long at that point. But I thought, that's not a bad idea. And I put that in my little mental file in my head. And I actually, when they did the Davy Jones memorial at Beavertown in 2014, I sort of said, my next book is going to be a sequel. And that's when I first came up with the title of A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You Too. I didn't start really working on the book right away because I was concentrating on selling the first book.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put my focus on that. And in the meantime, while these other Monkees things were happening, with Mickey, Davey, and Mickey, Mike, and Peter
Right.
Doing their tours. Mickey and Peter doing their tours, both together and individually. Michael doing his solo tours with Movies of the Mind and First National Band Redux. So and then there was, of course, the 2016 concert at the Pantages in Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
which Mike was going to be at, and it was purported to be Michael's last. It was going to purport to be Michael Nesmith's last concert as a Monkee.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, we've got to go to that one. And I was already married to Linda at that point. She said, Fred, you've kept saying how much you regretted not being at Davy Jones's last New York concert.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the tickets. I don't want to hear the rest of my life saying, I should have been there. I should have been there.
So you have made it to California before. Okay.
Yes, I have. I was in California. Well, that picture on the first book, with me with all four Monkees, that's from the ceremony of the Monkees receiving their star
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
And I was in the theater with them. And there's a story about that, too, which I thank Peter Tork for. The night before, they performed together as a foursome in a fully rehearsed show for the first time since 1968 with Michael. And then the next day was going to be the ceremony for the Walk of Fame star. So they did the ceremony in front of the Vogue Theater, which in 1968 premiered the movie Head. So the Monkees convention was going on that weekend, and we were all involved in this fantastic ceremony. I was assigned as a part of security for the Monkees at the ceremony. So I was in the theater. Helen Pantuso, who helped to spearhead the Monkees getting their star on the Walk of Fame, she deputized me to be part of the security. And then when we got to the theater, she called me inside, and the Monkees were just finishing up a press conference prior to the ceremony. And Peter and Davey already knew me, and they said hello. And Peter introduced me to Mike. And said, Mike, this guy who was involved with this show in New Jersey called the Uncle Floyd Show. I think you would have liked it. And I'm talking to Michael, and the thing about, I don't know if you, I take it you've met Nesmith, right?
Me? Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The thing that I've always got from Nesmith is that when you talk to him, he pays you total attention. He puts his full attention to you. He's listening to every word.
Yes.
And so that's what happened with me with him. He was listening to everything I was saying, and he was amazing. And as we were talking, they were being positioned, and Michael G. Bush was taking photographs of the Monkees, and I was still talking to Nesmith and Davey and Peter. Mickey was there too, even though I don't know Mickey as well as I knew Davey and Peter. And Michael Bush is telling me, excuse me, Fred, but you're in the photograph. You're in the picture. He says, oh, I'm sorry. And I start moving out. All of a sudden, I feel my arm being grabbed, and I'm tugged back, and it's Peter Tork who had grabbed me. And he looks at me and says, Fred, you're in the picture. And so that picture is me with the four Monkees. In the background, you see Lawrence Haley, who was part of the Monkees band and part of Davy Jones's band. And he's a dear friend also. And the look on my face in that picture is, I cannot believe I'm in this picture.
Wow. That's a great story.
And I will always thank Peter Tork for that. So anyway, getting back to the second book. So I decided, I was focused on selling the first book. In the meantime, I put together, through my friend John Rudzinski of the Monkey Files band, a Christmas CD before the Monkees put out Christmas Party of Christmas songs done monkey style. And that was a fun project to do. I had a good time with that one. So, and then shortly after that CD came out, Mickey was doing his Christmas show in Pennsylvania, and John called me and said, would you like to open for Mickey? He says, what? And we worked it out with Wayne Avers that me, John, and Linda would be performing Christmas Is My Time of Year with the music. It's sort of like a karaoke with the music being played and us singing it live. And I found out later that Mickey and Coco were watching us from the dressing room area. I said, oh my gosh, if I had known. If I had known, oh boy.
Wow.
But that was a lot of fun. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I decided in earnest to finally work on the second book. And I was at dinner with members of the Zilch podcast, and that's when I told them, and I told Ken Mills also, I was finally going to be working on this book. And then life happens. I got very sick. I got a bad case of diverticulitis, in which it was very serious. I needed major surgery, and if things had not gone right, let's just say there would not have been a second book.
Wow.
But God was very gracious with me, and I made it through. But I was working as a usher on Broadway for the New Amsterdam Theater, where they did the Disney shows like Mary Poppins and Aladdin. I was working at Aladdin at the time of my illness, and it was a very long recovery, and it took a couple of months before I could get back to my job. But unfortunately, I wasn't back to full strength, and I later got a relapse. So that's when I realized I can't keep working anymore. I'm going to have to just leave this job and officially retire. And because of the relapse, I was back in the hospital again with different problems, not as major as the other one, but still it required hospitalization. And I was in the hospital around Thanksgiving time till almost Christmas time, and managed to get out in time to celebrate Christmas at home. But by early January, I was back in the hospital again, and I was there through most of the month into February, and I was in the hospital, and I sent when February 13th, when it was Peter Tork's birthday, and sent out a birthday greeting to him, telling him I was thinking about him, happy birthday. And then it was on the 21st that I got the news while I was in the hospital that Peter had died.
Yeah. Wow.
He succumbed to the cancer that he was struggling with for the last several years, and which is the reason I'm sure a lot of people suspect that he was not as in the public eye as he once was.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough in 2017 to have seen his last concert at the Westbury Music Fair here in New York City, in the New York area. And no one knew it was going to be his last concert, but it turned out it was. And the song that he performed on the Christmas Party album, Angels We Have Heard on High, is actually the last recorded piece of music to our knowledge that Peter Tork ever recorded. So that song, I think, is very special because of that reason. It's a gift, and we should appreciate it.
Right.
So and like I said, I came up with the idea for the second book prior to Peter's dying. So that's when I realized now I really got to get cracking on this book. So when I was finally well enough to go home, and my wife and I made the final plans for me to retire, and we made plans to live with my in-laws to help share expenses in a nice house in Pennsylvania. We were sharing expenses and things, and it helps a lot, So, and they gave me my brother-in-law built me a little office, so I could say, "This is going to be your office now, Fred. So get cracking on that book." So I did another feeler out for late last year, like around July. I put out a feeler again on Facebook and Twitter saying I'm working on the second book, and if fans out there, this time the emphasis is going to be on monkey fandom from around the world. So I want different stories from everywhere, as far as possible, from Japan, Australia, Brazil, South America, England, wherever, as well as the United States. I wasn't leaving the United States out. And then my own stories as well. And so I have the story in there of the Japanese fans who came to see Peter on that last concert at Westbury.
Oh, wow.
Because because their story is great, because when they found out that Peter was going to be doing this concert at Westbury, and Peter hadn't been doing any kind of personal appearances throughout the year, just like the only one that was announced, they made plans to come see it. And they contacted me and said, Fred, is there any way we can meet Peter, that you can help us to see Peter? Because they were really devoted Peter fans. I said, well, I don't know, but I'll see what I can do. And I put out a feeler to Peter Tork's official Facebook page, The Real Peter Tork. And I said, look, these lovely Japanese fans coming all the way from Japan, they would love to be able to see Peter and maybe give him some gifts. Is there any way possible they could see Peter? And the Facebook page, Peter's Facebook page got back to me and said, if they come, there's no guarantee, there's no promises, but if they come to the backstage area at Westbury, somebody will, if someone's there, they'll bring them in to see Peter. Cool. So I told the fans this, and says, I can't make a promise. There's no guarantee this is going to happen. But when you get to Westbury, get there early, and get there like in the early afternoon, and because that's about the time the bands will be doing their sound checks and everything. And fingers crossed, someone will come and get you to see Peter. So the day of the concert, me, Linda, and two other friends went to Westbury, and we parked near where the backstage area is, and we saw the Japanese ladies. They were there. And when we came out of the car, they saw us. They said, Fred, Fred, Fred. And they were so happy to see us. And they gave me and Linda these beautiful gifts. They're all gifted ladies, and one of them made us these beautiful fans that had Japanese fans that had Peter's artwork of Peter on the fans, which are beautiful. And I wish I could show these. I'll hold them up to the podcast. People can see them.
I need to do another video one. Yeah, I did a video one with Jerry. So
yeah, I'll just hold it up to the microphone. But they're beautiful gifts, and they had some like this for Peter as well. So I told them, just hang out here, and hopefully someone's going to come and see you to let you come see Peter. So me and Linda and our friends, we went to dinner, and we went to a pizza place. And, these girls, they probably haven't eaten anything. They've been there all day. Let's get them a pizza pie. So we did. And Linda said, they're going to insist on paying for it. I said, yeah, I guess they will. I mean, I would like to give it to them, but they don't. We'll give it to them as a gift. So we went over. We got the pizza. We were going to give it to them as a gift. We see the girls, and they're like so excited. They said, we saw Peter. We saw Peter. We went backstage. We saw him. We saw Peter Noon and all the other guys, and we said hello to them and gave them gifts and everything, and took pictures. I said, oh, that's amazing. That's fantastic. And then we gave them the pie, the pizza pie, and they were very grateful. They said, well, how much is it? No, please. You did such a big favor. How much is the pie, please? So on their insistence, we took the payment. We would have loved to have just given it to them, but they said, no, please, we want to pay for it.
Wow.
You did such a wonderful favor. So, and they didn't have to, but they wanted to.
Wow.
And then they got to see the show, and they loved it. Peter was the first act up, and he did several songs. He acknowledged the Japanese ladies in the audience and said they came all the way to Japan just to see the show, and really grateful. Domo, domo arigato, thank you. And they were so thrilled. And we laughed during the intermission, after the show. We took pictures with the lovely ladies and everything. They were wonderful. Also with Fran from Bristol, I think its name is, who was from the Mosquitoes, who wrote That Was Then, This Is Now, and was working with Peter. It was in Peter Noon's band, the Hermits band. So he was there too. And so we had a great time there. And sadly, it turned out to be Peter's last public performance. So if anything, I'm grateful that not only did I get to see Peter's last show, that I was able to arrange for these lovely Japanese fans to get to see him also.
How was Peter that day? Was he in good spirits, or was he kind of weak?
He was in good spirits. He was okay. But the thing that everybody commented on was how thin and frail he looked.
Ooh.
If you look at the pictures I have in the book from that show, you'll see that, he's not looking that good. And he got to the show. His voice struggled a little bit, but not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad. And it's just, though I miss seeing Davey in his last New York show, at least I'm glad I got to see Peter's very last concert performance.
When was Davey's last New York show, out of curiosity? Was it?
It was, Davey's last show was about almost, it was, I think, the 19th, 18th or 19th, well, I think 19th or 18th or 19th of February, about at least 10 days before he actually died. Okay,
so that was after I saw him, because I saw him at the Hollywood Autograph Show on the 12th and the 13th, and, I always tell this, and I'll say it again, it's like, if I was taking bets on who would die in 2 weeks, it wouldn't have been Davey. It's like,
right.
There's Carla Lemley, who was there. She was 105 years old, and there's Martin Landau, who was getting up there, and he was not doing very well that day. And he and they both outlived Davey, and I was like, wow.
I know. That's what probably made Davey's death so shocking, is that of all the four Monkees, you would have thought he was the healthiest of them.
Yeah. And I think it was Peter who said he was the youngest, that Davey was the youngest of the four.
He was 66 when he died.
Yeah. And I think Mickey in jest said, I thought I was going to go first, which, it's like, it is kind of sad. And it startled me at the time, because, it's like, here I met him face to face. He was totally enthusiastic and robust and everything, and no clue at all, that, you just figure, oh yeah, I'll see him in another solo concert or another Monkees concert later in the year. That was my thought, but this is my chance to see him face to face. And I got him to sign his first book, They Made the Monkey Out of Me. Made the Monkey Out of Me, that one. I need to get that Mutant Monkees book, especially since you said that. I had a question about that. I mean, when Davey said, is there anything in here you can use? Was it hard to say everything? Not to say everything. I mean, was it easy to pick out things, or was it like, there's so many things, I don't know?
So many things. I knew that they had just so much space.
Yeah.
And they told me, pick out what you think the fans would like to see.
Oh, okay.
They trusted me to know what the fans would want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they asked me over, is that they knew if anybody could know what a fan would like to see, would be another fan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I looked at the pictures and things that this has to be in there, this has to be in, this definitely has to be in. And if you look at the pictures that are in the book, a lot of the pictures that they use are the ones that I suggested.
Mm-hmm. Now, since you've written these 2 books and helped out on that one, are there any other books in your future, or is part 2 just the end, or is there a part 3 in our future?
I hate to be the one. I hate to be the one that people think of. Every time a monkey dies, Freddie writes a book.
Well, let's hope you don't have to write another book for a long time. No.
Yeah, so I don't want it to be like that. I don't want it to be like that situation, like I'm a little vulture or something.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is going to be it regarding monkey books for a while.
Yeah.
I talked to Valerie Carey-Benet the other night, because she's in the book,
mm-hmm.
and I told her this is probably going to be the last monkey book for me. He says, never say never, Fred.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but my thought is that the next book I might do will probably be a children's book.
Oh, okay. Would it have anything to do with the Monkees, or just a children's book?
No, just a children's book.
Okay, cool. It doesn't the world doesn't have to revolve around the Monkees, or does it?
Right, exactly. But I'm very happy about the way this new book turned out, because I got, like I said, stories from fans from around the world. I got nice stories from fans in Australia, from South America, from Japan, from England. Lots from the States.
Without giving away too much, what story surprised you? I mean, where did it come from?
Let me think. One of the stories I got, which is great. Have you seen that video of the kid who put together his little monkey videos from Legos?
I think I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. But anyway.
His father, Rick Wrights, let me make sure I got that name right. Mm-hmm. Let me double check my little book. Give me a second, sir.
Oh, that's okay.
Yep. Richard Wright and his son Dylan. Dylan is the one who put together the Lego video of the Monkees opening, the TV opening.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Definitely, it's great. And the Monkees liked it, and they used it as the opening video for their concerts a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Richard Wright and his son Dylan, they both live in Pennsylvania, and they went to one of the shows in Pennsylvania and got to meet Mickey and Peter. And it was a thrill for him, because it was like Dylan's first rock concert, any kind of concert, whatever, rock and roll concert. And it was a thrill for him to have met two of his heroes, and that they liked his videos so much, that he put so much work and effort into it. And it shows in the videos, if you see them. Mm-hmm. So if you go on YouTube and you look up Dylan movies or something like that, or Monkey Legos, let me see. That is... Okay, the website is on YouTube. Look up Dylan R. Movies.
Okay.
And you should be able to find it.
All right.
But he put out these wonderful videos where he did his own artwork, he did his own work on it, he did his own animation, and they came out great. And the Monkees loved it, and they used it in the opening of their shows.
Cool.
Their live shows. Mm-hmm. So when Dylan came to the Pennsylvania show, and Mickey and Peter knew he was going to be there, they had him backstage. They visited with him. They said, "You want to come on stage with us?" He said, "Yeah." and the kid took it like a pro. He's amazing. And say hello to him and his father. Hopefully they're listening to the podcast. And I hope to meet them soon, because I definitely want to sign my copy of the book for them. So that was a great story that was able to incorporate into the book. Another one is the Japanese fans. They, during the 2016 tour, the Good Times tour, 4 of them had put together a dance from You Bring the Summer, in which they rehearsed the dance. One of them is my friend Kyoko I'm trying to remember her name correctly. Yes, give me a second. I'm referencing myself.
Oh, you're flipping through the book. Okay.
I'm looking at the book. I'm making sure I got her right. Don't want to get it wrong. Okay, Kyoko Hosokawa, a lovely lady, wonderful fan. She and her other Japanese fans put together a little dance group, and they rehearsed a dance step that incorporated the monkey walk. And they had gone to one of the meet and greets with Mickey and Peter's show. And they said, we want to show you what we did with your song. And they performed while Mickey and Peter were rehearsing You Bring the Summer. They did the dance in the aisles for them. And they were so taken with it. And Andrew Sandoval also says, would you like to perform in the show tonight? and so they did. And that video is up on YouTube also.
Wow.
So it's such a fun. Here it goes. Okay, if you, I'll give you the address here. They were called Team Red Maracas, and they performed at the Monkees Seattle Washington concert.
Cool.
In 2016. And if you go on YouTube and go https www.youtube.com/watch?v equals 3L8SJR capital RZP dash RS, and that should bring it up. Or look up for the video put up by Marianne Spellman.
Okay.
Last name spelled Spellman, Marianne Marianne. Look up that video of the Monkees Seattle Washington concert. You bring the summer, and you should be able to pull up the video of the Japanese ladies performing to the song.
Cool. Okay.
That was so much fun. That video is such a fun video to watch, and you could tell from the look on Mickey and Peter's faces they were absolutely delighted by the ladies. They did such a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Other stories. My friend Rosa Villegas. Let me make sure I got her right again. Rosa Di Fatima Villegas.
Mm-hmm.
She recounts. She was actually one of the first fan stories in here, in which she recounts her experiences as a fan coming all the way from South America just to see Peter and Davey and Peter in concerts, to see the Monkey concerts. Her story is great, her adventures, about other fans helped her coming all the way from Brazil to meet and see the Monkees in concert. So that's a great story too. I mean, there are so many good stories in here. Not just mine, but all the other fan stories. I mean, I would like to say, oh yes, I wrote a great story. No, not so much. I wrote some I had some stories in there, but the other fan stories are amazing.
That's cool.
And I hope people have a good time. Now, the other thing is that not only do I have the fan stories in there, I was able to get interviews with Dino Kovis of the New Monkees.
Okay.
It's exclusive to the book,
Mm-hmm.
and an exclusive to the book interview with Valerie Carey's Benet, the wife of the late Nick Benet, the man who discovered the Beach Boys, and Bobby Darin, and Linda Ronstadt, and producer Linda Ronstadt.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a great friend of the Monkees. She is the Valerie that has been in several of the Monkey episodes.
Right.
She's in the episode where about the fashion magazine. She's the reporter
Mm-hmm.
that tries to help the Monkees with that magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And she was Davy's stand-in on the
That's
show
right.
too.
That's right. I heard that before.
Yeah. So she would stand in for Davy when they set up the lights and things.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were both about the same height.
Mm-hmm.
She has some great stories. Without revealing too much, Nick Benet is a great figure in music history. I mean, just the Beach Boys alone is more enough recognition. But Bobby Darin,
Right.
the Ronstadt, Glenn Campbell, people like that he worked with. But that he was offered the Monkees, and I won't tell you how it turns out, but Valerie tells that story, and it's definitely is worth reading. You know, I'm giving you little hints, folks. I'm not giving away the store.
Well, I don't want you to either. I'm definitely going to get a copy. I just haven't yet. I only heard about it a few days ago, so I was like, oh, he did another book. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, well, the book just came out a few days ago.
So that's why I said, ooh, you probably will want to talk about it. Anyway, the main thing to ask now is, how do you get a hold of this and the other book? A little bit me, a little bit you, and a little bit me, a little bit you, too.
You too. Okay, both books are available on Amazon.com as both print books and Kindles. A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You is also available on Apple iBooks and Barnes & Noble Nook. A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You 2 is just available on Amazon as both a print and Kindle. Mm-hmm. And the Kindle will be coming out next week, but the print book is out now. So for those who like Kindle, it'll be out in the last week of October. And the print book just came out just a few days ago, which surprised me. I got my proof copy. I said, wow. And someone actually got their copy of the book before I got it.
Wow.
But on the cover is me giving the peace sign, all groovied out. Mm-hmm. And on the corners are fans from around the world with the individual Monkees. You got Rosa with Davey, my friend Sandy Kelly from England mm-hmm. with Mickey, Eric Oz Monkey Man with Mike, and the lovely Japanese ladies with Peter at his last concert appearance.
That's cool.
And the back cover is me posing with the Monkey star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it. I just remember you're flashing the peace sign, and it's a very blue cover. That's what I remember. And then the other one's a brownish cover. That's what I remember.
It's more orange. It's
orange,
more
okay.
Okay. Yeah, and well, the first cover has me in the center with all four Monkees and Laurie Haley, and the corner photographs are each individual Monkee with me in each picture. Mm-hmm. And so on the first cover, it's all me. On the second cover, it's me and the Monkees with other people.
Cool.
So to emphasize that this is not just my stories, but stories from fans from around the world.
Yeah. Well, if it's like the first book, I know it'll be an entertaining read. So,
I was very pleased to see that in Amazon's charts of new rock books, that my book actually made it into the top 100.
Wow.
So I was really pleased with that, and that for briefly it was in the top 30. Mm-hmm. If people just go out in a buying frenzy,
yes. Well,
get this book, the first book. You keep me up in the charts, folks.
The holidays are coming up, and with the pandemic, you can't go anywhere. You might as well order the book.
Jingle bells, jingle bells. Oh, yes. Makes a nice Christmas stocking stuffer. Hint, hint.
Yes. and throw in a couple of my books, too, while you're at it. Anyway, have a Monkees Christmas. Let's see. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, because I'm sure you'll be around in monkey fandom in the future as the pandemic finally gives way, and hopefully we'll get back to concerts and conventions and things again in some time in the future. How can people get in contact with you?
They can contact me through my Facebook group, Monkey Fan Book on Facebook. I also have a blog on the monkees.net website, and I will have my own website coming up soon, in which I hope. Right now, you can get the books through Amazon, but I'm hoping to have a new my own website up soon, in which I could let people know how to get copies of the book signed.
Oh, cool.
But in the meantime, I don't know how long it's going to take before I get that website up. So I would encourage people please buy the book on Amazon, both the print and Kindle. It's very tough to sign a Kindle, so but I'll sign the print book definitely.
Yes.
And you can also reach me on email, fred@fredvelez.net.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to reach me that way, and they can probably reach me that way, so if they want to get the print book, I can give them details of how we can arrange it.
All right. Very good. Well,
so again, you can reach me on Facebook, on my personal page, and also on Monkey Fan Book, on monkees.net. My blog is there, and on fred@fredvelez.net as well.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Fred, for being my special guest today on the Fun Ideas podcast. It was a blast and wonderful to hear Monkee stories. I always love to hear them. So
I'm glad, and I want to congratulate you and Michael on your books. I think they're really wonderful too.
Thank you very much. We'll have to do this again sometime soon, maybe with Michael as well, and we can discuss more Monkees or do a trivia quiz or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I thank you again, and have a good night.
Thank you, and all the best to all the Monkee fans out there. God bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Fred Velez, for being my special guest. Episode number 94 will be coming soon. If you would like to comment and or be a guest on this podcast, please drop me a line at funideas.mark@gmail.com. Become a patron of Mark Arnold and Fun Ideas Productions. If everyone listening just contributed $1 a month, that would be a tremendous help in continuing the production of my books and this podcast. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. The opening and closing music for the Fun Ideas podcast is provided courtesy of Andrew the Slow Poisoner Goldfarb and is used with permission. This has been the Fun Ideas podcast. This is Mark Arnold speaking. This episode is copyright 2020, Fun Ideas Productions. Thank you, and good night.
Headed home to a cardboard hut with duct tape doors. At the price I'm paying, be glad it isn't yours. Now get up, Crab Mountain, get up. 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 That mountain of crab. And don't fall back. Don't fall back.